captured as 6 of course there is a myriad of challenges out there. I have captured 6. And I have also tried to look at what are the contours of a successful organization and a successful marketing team which could take on such challenges. So sometimes it goes beyond the pure marketing into the shape of the team itself. Firstly, to introduce my publication, like any newspaper, the first thing which comes to mind is circulation. Across the years, we have grown from being a very small, very local brand of Hyderabad to becoming a 1.5 billion copies a day paper. Now the second largest in India. And of course, the number 1 is still more than double our size. So there is a long, long way to go. But from being a paper which emerged in Hyderabad as a single copy, a single edition, single location paper in the crucible of the freedom movement, by now in 70 years we have really been growing, and the slope has been exponentially rising. So that's all sorts of good things for us. And therefore, yes, certainly a plug. If you need to advertise, especially in South India, there is a very simple, clear decision for you. Do come to us. What has worked for us, of course, is focusing on one rising, growing segment, which is the youth. Our paper is targeted and positioned as the paper for young minds. It is not just a slogan. We have been able to get the largest youth connect, the largest percentage proportion of our readers from the youth of any newspaper, English or vernacular. And as these younger audiences grow, mature, move into families of their own, this is what propels us in terms of volumes and numbers. Moving on, the 6 marketing challenges which I see coming soon, I have narrated them here in no specific order or rank. The first part is the world is flat version 2.0. Nandan Nilekani and of course Mr. Friedman were discussing this just a few days ago. Version 1 of World is Flat competitively equated a Bangalore or many other towns to the US towns, and therefore you will find that a Bangalore or Gurgaon or a Hyderabad boomed. There were actually shrinkages, job losses and pains in the US. World is Flat version 2.0 is almost upon us, with a lot of people looking at continuity on what is happening today. But this same technology and the same bandwidth which allowed you to serve a US customer from India in Bangalore is going to allow a customer in Bangalore to be serviced from Patiala, for argument's sake. And therefore you would see tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities really take off because the cost of living is low. Cost of living in Bangalore was low. I have also looked at some of the enablers which could allow you to tackle these challenges. And these are very often coming across as cultural enablers, not necessarily structural enablers. First, probably, is the way your organization works. Is information flowing openly? Or does marketing not talk to sales, sales not talk to distribution? Therefore, if your information flow is open, top to bottom, side to side, you are relatively more secure. And the fire alarm, if only good news, we achieved so-and-so is coming upwards, and you didn't do so-and-so thing is going downwards, then gentlemen, there is a fire alarm there. Team diversity. There are teams, successful teams, which are very similar and homogeneous. Their era is probably coming to an end. Teams which are age diverse, gender diverse, ethnically diverse, and for companies which are venturing across countries, actually diverse in terms of origin, in terms of country, citizenship. It is extremely important that you have that diversity because it brings different worldviews, different cultural backgrounds, and therefore different ways of creating a problem and a solution. The fire alarm here would be Does a meeting in your organization happen in two languages? English is understood, but if the second language is only one, if it is English and Tamil, or English and Hindi, or English and Marathi, then gentlemen, you need to take stock of what you are doing to your own culture and what sort of impact it would have to your competitiveness. Third is the area of risk taking. Are you making enough mistakes? If by team, by category, you find that you are making only successes and no mistakes, then surely along with those mistakes which got buried, a number of success stories have also got buried because people self-edited them and said, this looks risky, let me not try it. Unless you support the guy who made the mistake, saying, okay, you tried a small thing, try it small, try it in a test tube, test it. Which Mr. Soni was talking about in the pre-learner session. Test it, research it, but take that risk, try it out. That risk-taking ability is extremely important. Consumer connect also, of course market research, but also stepping out of the corner office and going down, talking to the end consumer, the end buyer of your product, and understanding how he consumed it, how delighted or how pained is he with the product is important. Sixth, the changes which are already under your belt. If you have learned and lived the change, it enables you to take on more change in the future. So therefore, if you have an environment where, and this is a very typical Indian story, somebody joins as a trainee in sales, works as an executive, finally he is there as a regional head. In the same geography 25 years later, you could be looking at a problem there. Because this is a person who is not exposed to more environments, has not moved from sales into marketing and back into sales. So there are too many days and too few us in his lexicon. There is always a risk area. Continuity and what may be called or was called deadwood. The importance of this cannot be stressed, especially with job hopping being around and the typical tenure of a lot of teams being 1.5 to 2.5 years. If everybody in the team has been there only 2 years, then you have problems. If a significant number of people have been around when the organization looked different, the challenges were different, the market was different, and they have lived through those changes, they may have liked it, may not have liked it, but they have lived through it and have that memory and the link to the past and how the organization evolved to tackle changes in the past, then these people form the key to giving you a strong, stable platform on which you actually lead change into the future. A completely, rapidly changing over team with no anchors to the past is vulnerable because it tends to believe that today had actually existed every day in the past, which normally is not true. And something as down to earth as budgets. Do I do marketing budgets which are what if this launch is supposed to deliver X volume and X spend, do I take a look after the first 10 or 20 or 30% is through? And if it is doing better than I expected, do I increase resources behind a winner? Do I cut resources from a loser? Do I modify to something which is moderate? Or are these things cast in stone? So these are some of the things which probably could work as strategy enablers